Hello, everybody. So I've got 10 minutes up here. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for letting me share this space with you. So I've got 10 minutes. I wanted to talk to you a little about who I help, who I am, and how the journey that sort of brought me here. Talked a little bit about the mums that I help, and then I want to give you a free gift if that's what you'd like. I quite think people like gifts, so I thought I'd give you a gift. And then introduce you to a new online program that I'll be launching in a few weeks' time. So I typically help mums. They're usually sort of 35, 45 years old, and they come to me with overwhelm. They come to me with stress. They're quite often not sleeping very well. And I help them release that exhaustion, that stress, not only from the body but also in the mind, not just from the present for what's going on right now with them, but also sort of going back in time. And that allows them to have a better relationship with their children, with their partners, with their families, so they can ultimately have a lot more fun, feel freer, feel happier, feel like they've got more energy. So it wasn't always like that for me. So about 8 years ago now, I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, like you said, which is lovely. And it wasn't lovely at all. In fact, the destruct button was being pressed in every single direction, and it was everybody else's fault. Definitely not mine. Yes, well. There comes a point when, if you do feel angry, there comes a point where you kind of you start to put the jigsaw puzzles together, and you do start to realise that you are the contributing factor, and that certainly happened with me. And it got to that point where my anger wasn't just verbal anymore, it was getting physical. And that's really scary. It's a really scary place to be. And I'm a nice person, I thought. I would always consider myself to be kind and caring and thoughtful and always helping everybody. And this was something that was going on behind closed doors. My friends had no idea what was going on, because this is something that happens, but it was happening at home. So I had a choice, and that became the start of something enormous. And I tried all sorts of things. And there were a few tools in particular that blew my mind and that were phenomenal and that changed my life forever. So I started to train in them, and I started to help people. And I started, first of all, to help with the kids, because I was a school teacher, so I was very passionate about helping these children. So I started working exclusively with kids, and it was great. I was getting loads of really good results. But there was something missing, and the more I talked with the mums, the more I was like, aha, I wanted to work with them. Because actually, if I can help them, then they can transform their whole family. And so that's what I did. So I started working with mums, and I love it. I haven't looked back. And it's a really beautiful place to be in. So I thought it would be, I'll talk you to a little bit about the sort of mums that I work with. So when they come to see me, I'll tell you a story instead. The story's nice. So I had a mum who was coming to see me last year, and she had very confronting circumstances. They were really tricky. They really were tricky. And she was in overwhelm. She was very tearful, having very volatile conversations with the people around her, and it was really, really tricky and not nice. But over a series of sessions, over a series of months, without changing any circumstances, and this is kind of the point of the whole talk, so without changing any circumstances, we transformed completely how she felt in her body, so that she regained love in herself. She could have the conversations that she needed to have to transform her world. She could feel like she was back in control. And this is the point. Like, I did not want to be that person who was being angry, except I was. She did not want to be behaving, or behaving is the wrong word. She didn't want to be showing up in the world with all these circumstances, and actually we got to transform that. And that's what's beautiful about this work. So, I was trying to think about what to say, whether I share something else. It's not, this is not about, so give me a show of hands in the room. Who often sees red? So who sees red? Okay. Who feels like they go from molehill to mountain really quickly? Frustrated, irritated. Who feels like they have that volcano kind of churning around in their body, kind of just desperate to get out? That was me, by the way. That volcano was kind of always on the go. Like, when is it going to come out? Like, these things we have in our bodies, but they don't always have to be there, and we need to allow them to come out in the right time, in the right way. And so I've put together a gift for you. So the gift that I have for you is on the table down the front. And the gift for you today is that, and it's not going to transform your world completely, but it'll help take the froth off the top. So it'll the transformational meditation will allow you to transform how you feel in your body. So if you're feeling a little bit stressed or a bit overwhelmed, or that you're seeing that volcano starting to whirl around, it'll help take that out of your body so that you can have more clarity during the day, or just get a better sleep at night, which would be quite nice. And the other one is a 10 top tips on shaking off that stress. So if you wanted that down at the front, you'd be very welcome to take that. It's a quick download, and there's lots of flyers at the front which you can have. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was my new program that's going to be coming out on the 1st of May. And this is all around anger, because I was so shameful around what was going on behind closed doors. I recognise that this is not something that everybody wants to talk about. I don't go to the park and the mums go, hey, guess what? I really lost my shit this morning, and it was all over the place, and this was happening, and plates were flying, and this is not a conversation that happens often in the park. So I thought, let's create something where actually mums can get that help in the safety of their own home without having to go and seek it. I don't want any mum to have to go through what I went through and not be able to find the help. I did not know that help was out there. I just thought I was mad. It's debatable. But I don't want people to go through this. So this online program, people can access it at 3 different levels. It could be purely an online program. It can be an online program with some additional help and content, or it can be with some deep dive sessions where we can really get to the root of it. It's 10 weeks long, and the first 5 weeks really helps teach people how to transform, what's going on in here, so that you can let it go and feel freer. Then there's a bit of an incubation period, because I always like a bit of incubation period, just so you can practice, let the dust settle a little bit. And then the last 5 weeks is really looking at what are those triggers. So, I don't know what my triggers were exactly at the time. It's a long time ago. But, when you told the kids to put the shoes on 10 times that morning and they're still not listening to you, there is something that triggers in you that makes you go whoosh. And suddenly it's an all full-out explosion. That doesn't need to be that way. It's not like that at home anymore, thank goodness. And the relationships that I have, the relationships that my clients have with their loved ones at home is beautiful. Not only with their kids, but also with their partners. I remember my husband and I, when we started arguing, my goodness, it would take days, if not weeks, to get to the end of that argument. I would not let go. This is not changing. But actually, it takes about, 10 minutes to an hour now to clear up. And that's a pretty good result. So wherever you think you are or your friends think you are, there is change. You can change. And I've just seen I've completely run out of time. So it's been a real privilege talking to you. Thank you so much. That's Anna Goodwin from Stress Free Mums. Thank you so much.